He lifts the veil, and his hand comes up between us like, I am something that has to be kept back. 600 people take one breath at the same time. 41 years of mirrors got me ready for this. One instruction from my mother, the only thing she ever gave me that was mine. Chin up. Let him look. The quiet does it. A child asks his father what is wrong with the bride. The hushing comes too late. Noon light through the glass. 3 hours of it left. Every person in this church is staring at the wrong face, and the only man who has put his hands on me today is standing behind my husband, and he is not my husband. If you know what it is to be looked at and measured, you already know how the rest of this goes. Some of you will want to stop here. Stay if you want to see her quit apologizing for it. There are more of us than you would think. They take me to a room behind the altar that smells like a house with the shutters closed since March. 6 of us go in. Nobody asks whether I want to. My father goes first, the way he has walked into rooms ahead of me my whole life. Then my mother's brother, Thibaut, who has never looked at me longer than it takes to check a figure. Then his daughter Yvette, who touches my arm in the doorway and says my name in the voice people use at wakes. Remy comes last and leaves the door open, so a priest and 2 altar boys hear every word. I was not told. You were told. I was told she was kept private. He turns on my father, both hands open, a man being wronged in public. Private is a word for a woman with a chest cough. It is not a word for whatever is standing in my church in a wedding dress. Nobody looks at me. Understand that this is the part that lands. Not the words. The words came at 9, from a girl at a birthday party I was allowed to attend for exactly 40 minutes. They came again at 19 from a boy who visited 3 weeks running at 8 in the evening, then came once at 11 in the morning and never came back. Words I can hold. 5 people are arguing about me at a volume that assumes I already left the room. There is a mirror above the vesting table, hung so priests can straighten their collars. My head turns before I can stop it. Skin like the bark of a water oak, gray through it, dark spots across the cheek a stranger would take for mold. A jaw too heavy for the neck under it. Lines of face should not earn until 80. My mother's eyes in the middle of all of it, the only piece she got through. Chin up. Behind me in the glass at the window stands a man nobody has introduced. Older than Remy, the way a house is older than a car. Soldier's shoulders. A short beard gone silver at one edge. He is looking directly at my reflection, and he does not fix his face when I catch him. Most people fix their face. There is a whole choreography to it. The glance and the slide and the sudden interest in a window. He does none of it. His hand caught me in the aisle when my heel went flat on my back, holding all of me in one palm, and then he was gone into the pillars before I could turn around. I spent the last 30 feet of that walk thinking about it instead of praying. The contract was signed before she could hold her head up, my father says. Then unsign it. Remy. One word from the window, and the room stops. Say the rest of it. The rest of what? What you are actually asking for. You want her uncle to take the ugly part off your hands so nobody has to watch you do it. Thibaut clears his throat and starts in on the terms. He is good at it. 2 generations of Lasagnas have been good at it, and while he works I understand, with my hands folded, that nobody in this room will say my name unless I make them. Speaking was not the plan. The plan was decided in the car. Whatever they say, sit there, keep your hands still, let it go past you like weather, then go home and get through it the way you get through everything, which is alone and after dark. It is beneath your line, I say, to talk about a woman the way you would talk about a room you did not like. The whole room turns. Remy blinks. Twice. Like a man who walked into a glass door in a building he owns. He has been alive a long time, and nobody has told him he was wrong in a century. Behind him, in the mirror, the corner of the older man's mouth moves. That is all. One corner. He does not smile with it, and he does not look away, and something opens in my chest that I thought had closed for business. Somebody enjoyed watching me win. Fine, Remy says. He straightens his cuff. His eyes find the exit, and I watch him decide the exit beats the room. If the seat comes with her, the seat can go. My father says, "What?" I abdicate. In front of witnesses, in a consecrated building, with the priest in the doorway. Binding as it gets. You have no air. The older man's voice drops, and there is something under it now that is not light at all. Exactly. Remy spreads his arms. Congratulations, uncle. He crosses the room and claps him on the shoulder, the same gesture my father used on him 90 seconds ago. He knows it. He times it. Enjoy her. Then he walks out through 600 people in a white suit, and the noise starts, and it is not a gasp this time. It is cloth. 600 people turning at once in their good clothes. We are married at 4 in the afternoon in the side chapel. 9 witnesses. No music. Something is supposed to arrive, and what comes instead is a ringing flatness, the way your ears go after a door slams. Married to a man I have not had one full conversation with, in a dress cut for a different groom, for hours after being refused in front of the largest crowd of my life.
He says his part looking at me.
Not near me. Not past my shoulder at the priest, which is where every eye in my life has learned to sit. He turns his head, puts his eyes on my noon face, in a room with hard light behind him, and keeps them there. 11 seconds. I count them. Outside, the sun sits low and yellow over the parking lot, and the live oaks throw shadows all the way across the road.
2 hours, maybe.
He offers his arm. Taking it, I hear myself say thank you, and I do not mean for the arm. The Fontenot house takes up most of a block off St. Mary, and by 6 the receiving room is full of people who came to look at me. They are better at it than the cathedral. 4 hours of practice and old families, so what I get is not the gasp. What I get is the flicker. A quarter second where the mouth does one thing and the eyes do another, then the recovery, smooth as a card trick.
16.
16 flickers before I stop counting. Their opinion of me is worth nothing.
Note that.
Noted directly beside the fact that I counted. The whole time, my eyes are on the west wall. Light comes through 3 tall windows and lies on that wall in a long shape. When we came in, it was the color of butter. Now it is the color of a peach. A woman in green tells me about her daughter's confirmation, and behind her head the top edge of that shape is going orange, and everything in me is screaming. Cousin. Yvette comes through the crowd with a glass in each hand and 4 women behind her. You poor thing. You absolute poor thing. I am all right. You are not, and you do not have to be. The glass goes into my hand. I said something. In the room. To his face. She did not. She stood in that room and said nothing at all, and she is looking at me now with warm, wet, perfectly sincere eyes. That is the part one keep turning over later. She believes it. She has already written the version she will tell at lunch. The orange has gone red at the top of the wall. One of the women says something about the veil, how heavy it was. What a mercy. Another laughs and stops laughing. Yvette turns and makes a small disapproving sound at them, like a woman correcting a dog she is proud of. Do not be unkind. It is hardly Delphine's fault. The red climbs. Tomorrow, then, she says. The garden. Say yes. Forgive me. My hand is shaking, and it no longer matters who sees. The glass goes down on something, looking to see what would cost me a second. I am unwell. Nobody excuses me. That is the one good thing about this entire day. I run. In a wedding dress, up a staircase, past a portrait of somebody's grandfather, holding my skirt in both fists, through a house full of people who will tell it for years and all agree the poor thing could not take being stared at. No light under the door by the time it shuts. It starts behind the eyes. Then the hands, bones going wide, and then narrow, knuckles grinding like a knee in cold weather. The jaw moves. The scalp crawls and keeps crawling longer than seems reasonable. Fists shut, teeth shut, standing in the middle of the floor. Under a minute. It is always under a minute. Then the room is dark and it is done, and my own face is under my own hands, and I sit down on the end of a bed in a house I have never slept in. Too close. Somebody knocks. Madam. I have come to prepare you for the evening. Ice down the back. 41 years of planning every hour around one rule, and I walked into a marriage without once thinking through the wedding night. I do not need you. Footsteps in the hall. A voice announcing him. There is a screen by the window. For panels of black lacquer with cranes on it, the kind of thing that has been in a house so long nobody remembers buying it. I am behind it when the door opens. Delphine. I am here. I am not dressed. Another voice, brisk, official, something about the family and the custom and the witnesses.
No, he says.
One syllable. The other voice starts again. My wife was refused in public at noon and married at 4. Whatever the custom is, it can wait. Anyone who wants to discuss it can find me in the morning. Good night. The door closes. The hall empties. A chair takes his weight, well away from the screen. You do not have to come out. I would rather not. All right. He does not ask again. Asks once, gets told no, lets it lie. My hand goes flat on the wood in the dark, and it occurs to me that no man in my life has ever taken my no on the first try. The panel is warm on my side. It must be cool on his. We talk for an hour. His brother died in February. He missed the funeral. On business in Beaumont, he does not describe. Second son of a second son. So the seat was never coming near him, and he built a whole life on that. Head of this family for 6 hours, and he still does not know where anything is kept. Did you want it? The pause runs long enough that I hear the house settle. It is mine now. Not an answer. He lets me hear him not answer, which is its own kind of honesty. He stands to go. Thank you, I say. Nothing comes back. The quiet stretches until my hand finds the panel again. He is gone. He left while I was working up to it, and I am 41 years old and still doing this. You have nothing to thank me for, he says from the door. Then his footsteps go away down the hall, and I sit on the floor with my back against the screen, safe, hidden, unseen. Exactly as planned. The disappointment takes the air out of me. You are still here. That was a choice, and I know what it cost some of you because the easy thing is to leave before you get attached to somebody who is about to be hurt. There is a night coming where he looks straight at her and does not know her, and what he says then is the reason I am telling you any of this. Stay for that one. They present me to the families on a Thursday. In daylight. Drapes pulled all the way back. Later I understand that is deliberate. At the time all I understand is that 90 people have had 4 days to prepare their faces, and they use the time well. Nobody says anything to me. They say it near me. That is the local art form, delivered at the volume of a compliment. Remy was ours. 40 years hidden, and now we know why. She cost this family the only Alpha it had. Every question gets answered, fully, warmly, hands still. A woman gets asked about her mother's health, and I remember the mother's name. I am better at this than any of them expect, because I've been rehearsing for a life in rooms since I was 6 and never got to have one. 11. 11 times door to the far end and back. Their opinion is worth nothing, and I counted it to the number. If you have ever done that, you know exactly what I am. One other thing registers and gets filed away. When somebody mentions the daylight and what it costs the old blood to stand in it, 4 of the wives look at the floor. Not the men, the wives. For women find something interesting about their shoes at the same moment, and I am new here, but I know the shape of that because I have been standing in it my whole life. Afterward, I go looking for Yvette. She defended me. That is what I am, carrying down the hallway like a hot dish. She is the only person in Louisiana who has, and I am about to be honest with her, which has not happened since my mother died. The door at the end stands open 6 inches. Told you it would sort itself out. My feet stop. You might have warned me. Yvette, laughing. I nearly went through the floor. I did not know I was going to do it until it was done. A year of sneaking around this house. And now I do not have to sneak at all. Remy, delighted with himself. Your poor uncle. My poor uncle got a family out of it. He can keep the duck as well, and good luck to him. She laughs. like it is the best thing anybody has said all week.
A year.
We met on Tuesday. He has been promised to me since before either of us could talk, and he has been in this house with my cousin for a year, and neither of them thought of telling me because telling me would mean thinking of me as a person who could be told. Standing in that hallway, I go very calm. Let him look. All of them. Let every one of them look as long as they want because being stared at is nothing next to being arranged around. I walk out. They never hear me. That night, I swear, I will not tell him. Family business. Humiliating. He has a house full of people who want a seat and no need of my cousin's love life on top of it. He gets the whole thing inside 4 minutes. I am not surprised. You knew. I know the family. The chair creaks. Same chair, 4 nights running, same distance from the screen, and neither of us has mentioned that either. 2 generations of climbing and they are good at it. You were out of sight for 40 years. That is a long time for a family like that to look at an empty chair and think about who might sit in it. So, it was arithmetic. It was arithmetic. Remy is the fool in it. He could have broken with you quietly, blamed her, paid for it with a year of gossip. It never occurred to him there was a version where nobody watched. Something under his voice there. Older than anger. Say the poem, I tell him.
What?
He writes poems for her. Somebody recited one at a table in front of 11 people last week. There is a verse comparing her eyes to a pair of hawks. Why hawks? I cannot tell you. I do not believe he could either. My voice stays perfectly flat. It rhymes with talks. Your gaze, it swoops. Your wit, it talks. The sound from the other side of that screen is not a chuckle. It is a full laugh, deep, dragged out of a man who has not done it in months and is startled by his own noise. And I am laughing, on a floor, in the dark, at my cousin and the man who is supposed to be my husband. At the thing that flattened me 4 days ago. It does not hurt at all. That is when it happens. Not at the vow. Not at the 11 seconds. Here at a bad rhyme. May I tell you something unpleasant, he says. Yes. I may not hold this seat. The house goes very quiet. Half those families spent 10 years building around Remy. Engagements.
Debts.
Positions promised to their sons. He set all of it on fire in an afternoon, and the people standing in the ash are working out what I am worth.
He shifts.
And they know what I am. The old blood can stand in daylight. That is the entire basis of this family standing, that we can sit in a room at noon while everyone else is asleep. It is a performance and it costs. It dulls us. It takes years. Every hour with the drapes open is an hour I do not get back. That is why the wedding was at noon. Nobody in that church came for a wedding. They came to see whether I could still do it. My hand sits on the warm side of the panel. Here is what I have just been told, in a voice with no self-pity in it. The man who has to love me in daylight is a man for whom daylight is the most expensive thing he owns. And he will spend all of it every day on 90 people who want him gone. Nothing left over. There was never going to be anything left over. Good night. He goes. The footsteps do what they do down the long hall. Sleep does not come. 3 weeks in, he starts staying past 2 in the morning. Neither of us mentions it. He comes at 10. The chair takes his weight, the clock stops mattering, and then there is gray at the bottom of the curtains and he says something about the hour and goes. I know the sound of his cuff catching the arm of that chair. I know he presses his lips together before he says a thing he does not fully believe. I know he takes coffee like a man who does not want it and drinks it anyway because being seen with it in daylight is part of the performance. All of that about a man I have never seen sitting down. The hallway outside the west stair is where I hear it. 2 of them, barely lowering their voices. There is no air. There has been a wedding. There has been a ceremony. Not the same thing, and the whole house knows it. Ask the girls who do the rooms.
He goes in. He sits.
He comes out. Perhaps he is being patient. Perhaps. A short, ugly laugh. Would you? Then the quieter part, the one I carry back to my room, like something with a fuse in it. A family with no heir is a family with a vacancy. Vacancies in this parish do not stay open long. So I do the arithmetic myself. Be clear about how this went because I know how it sounds. It sounds like a woman in a nightgown deciding to be brave. It was an hour at a desk with a pen. An heir settles the seat. A settled seat gives him room to breathe. And the thing that has to happen first has to happen in daylight because daylight is the only currency my curse accepts. Strategy. That is what I told myself the entire time. 50 minutes went into choosing what to wear. 2 changes. My mother's earrings, which have not been out since the funeral. The note goes down. His answer comes back inside the hour. For words. Of course. Come up. 90 feet to his study takes a year. Heat up my neck the whole way, and I stop at the tall mirror on the landing, because walking past a mirror without doing what I do has never once been possible.
Gray.
Spotted. Heavy through the jaw. 41. Nobody would want this. Even a good man would not, and a good man makes it worse because a good man will be gentle about it, and I will have to live inside that gentleness for the rest of my life. He has never looked at me with disgust. Not in the sacristy. Not in the chapel. Not in any of the 40 rooms since. Up I go. He stands when I come in. He does that every time, and it takes me apart every time. What can I do for you? The prepared sentence comes out sideways. Something about the seat, the families, the position not being secure. His face closes over with concern, which is not the expression I was building toward. I thought we might produce an heir. He does not move. An heir. I mean that we might attempt to. I believe we should consummate the marriage. It is out in the room. My mother's earrings, my whole chest on fire. Watching his face for anything at all to arrive in it. Nothing arrives. He looks uncomfortable. That is the word. A man at a table where the wrong subject has come up. Delphine. Forget I said it. There is no pressure from me. Quick, kind, the voice you use on a horse.
None.
We have time. We do not need to try now. There is no pressure for me. I get out of that room with my chin exactly where my mother left it. Past 2 of the staff. Past a girl carrying linens. All 90 feet. Up the stairs, through my own door. Then I sit on the end of the bed and do not cry, which is a surprise. It just finishes arriving. He is the best man I have met. He is also a man who has offered his own wife and said no, and there is no version of that sentence that comes out differently, and now the rest of my life is visible from here. A courteous good morning across a table for 40 years, a chair pulled out, a coat held, and a man who will never once cross a room toward me, and I will grow old inside that kindness the way you grow old inside a house you cannot sell. He comes at 10 the next night, same as always. I do not answer him. He says my name once. Then he sits down in that chair anyway and talks. A dispute over a strip of land in Vermilion Parish. A horse his brother owned. 40 minutes into a room where nobody is answering, while I sit on the floor with my hand flat on the wood at the height where his shoulder would be, and make no sound at all.
He stops.
All right.
The chair.
The door. The footsteps going away. 3 days later there is a party at Remy's place on the Bayou Road, and we go, because refusing would look like fear. Nobody speaks in the car. Yvette finds me on the lawn with a glass in each hand, dressed like a woman being photographed. How are you finding it? Truly. Her head tilts. A man so much older. So serious. It must be an adjustment. I would rather have an unexpected husband than a husband with an unexpected mistress. Her smile holds. Something behind it does not. The glass comes up. Do not drink that. His voice at my shoulder, low and flat and certain. I hear it. I understand it. And out of 3 days of being handled and refused and gently, unbearably managed, my hand keeps going. That is the truth of it. Not bravery. Spite, of the tired kind. His arm comes across and knocks it out of my fingers. The glass goes onto the flagstone. Liquid across the back of his hand, up his sleeve. 3 days of it are already in my mouth when I turn on him. Then his face changes. He looks down at his own hand, at the wet running off his knuckles. His eyes go wide for half a second, then blank, and his knees fold, and the rest of him comes down after like something felled. A woman screams. Glass breaks. The whole lawn surges. I am on the grass on my knees before I know I moved, both hands on his face, and his eyes are open and looking at nothing. 10 minutes ago, I was punishing this man for being kind to me. They put him in a downstairs room at Remy's and cannot move him for 2 days. That room does not see me leave it. Nobody argues, which tells you how bad it looks. A wife who will not leave a room is a wife everyone expects to be a widow by Sunday, and grief buys a great deal of privacy in a house like that. It buys the one thing I need, which is a locked door at sundown. The key turns at 6:40 and does not turn back until light, and every person in that house reads it as love. It is love. It is also arithmetic, and both being true at once is something I have to carry. Near midnight on the second night, he surfaces. His eyes come open, drift, find me. I lean forward before I remember. By the time I remember, it is far too late.
Dark.
Changed. He is looking straight at the face I have hidden from him for 6 weeks. He frowns. Where is my wife? Relief goes through me hard enough to tilt the room.
He does not know me.
Looking right at me, and he does not know me. Then the rest of the sentence lands, and the relief goes out like a light. He is trying to sit up. Where is she? His breath is coming wrong. He is pushing at the bed with an arm that will not hold him. They tried for her, not me. She is still out there with them. You have to. She is safe. You do not understand. 6 inches up and his chest gives out and he goes back into the pillow, still trying. Find her. Tell Remy. Tell him too. The sentence never finishes. I sit with his hand in both of mine, and this is the part one will think about for the rest of my life. So let it be said plainly. The most beautiful I have ever been was standing over a dying man, and all he wanted was the other one. Something moves through the place where my palm covers his knuckles. Not a thought. A weather. Pain that is not in my hand, and under it a flat gray fog, and under that as he goes under, relief so complete it is almost sweet. Then it is gone, and I am holding a sleeping man's hand, and my heart is going like something trying to get out. The doctor they bring is old blood herself. She softens nothing. The poison was cut with something nobody has used in 80 years. He will live. He will not walk without help for a long time, possibly never without a stick. And he will not take daylight again. Not weakened. Finished. 1 hour in open sun would kill him now. She says it the way you read a weather report, and Remy has to leave the room. At the window afterward, I work it through because nobody else in that house can do the arithmetic I am doing. The only thing that breaks me is a man saying it in daylight to my daylight face and meaning it. Daylight is closed to him forever. Neither of us says any of this out loud. There is nobody to say it to. We go home in the last week of March. Not to the Fontenot house. To mine, the Broussard place out past the sugar mill, where I grew up with every shutter closed and a housekeeper who is known since I was 6. Ruthie comes down the steps, looks at him in the chair, looks at me. Well. Then she walks the whole ground floor and opens every shutter in it. Light comes into rooms that have not had it since my mother died. Dust standing up in columns. 40 years of dark coming off that house in one afternoon. The chair came from a man in Lafayette. Big wheels so he can move it himself if he wants. When it came into the room, he stared at it a long moment. What is this? A way out of this room. Those weeks are the happiest of my life, and nothing here is going to undercut them. Every morning I push him through the garden while the mist is still on it, the only hour he can be outside at all, under the pecans where the light comes through broken. The pond where I caught frogs alone. The tree I got stuck in at 11 and had to be talked down out of by a woman now 78 and standing in my kitchen. He tells me about being the second son. About a brother who is charming and reckless and beloved. About a war he does not name. He laughs at things. His eyes go at the corners when he does it, and I had never seen that because I had never seen his face while he laughed. You're doing it again. Doing what? Pressing your lips together. You do it before you say something you do not quite believe. He stops the chair, looks up at me with the mist coming off the grass. You watch me too closely. Somebody has to. The cup goes over and our fingers touch, and it comes through again. Warm this time. And something under the warm that is not warm at all. He pulls his hand back, so fast the coffee goes over the side. He knows what it is. He has known since the sick room. It is sitting right there in his face, and I watch him decide not to tell me, and he changes the subject to the pecans. That night I stand in front of the mirror in my mother's room. Dark hair past my shoulders. A face lit from somewhere inside it. The kind of bones that make strangers look twice in a parking lot. This is the face I have protected my whole life. The prize at the end. The proof. I hate it. I've started to actually hate it because it is the only thing in this world that is mine and cannot be given to him. Let him look, out loud, to the glass, about this face, for the first time in 41 years. Let him see the whole thing, and let the curse do what it does, because there is no daylight left in him to break it with anyway. That door closed on a lawn on the Bayou Road with a glass in my hand. Nothing left to protect. Down the hall I go, to tell him. He is asleep in the chair with a book gone sideways in his lap and his mouth a little open. There is a mark on the back of his hand I have not seen before. Red across the knuckles. Like a burn. I take the book. I put a blanket over him. Tomorrow, I think. 9 in the morning, and the sun is all the way across the bed. Ruthie stands in the doorway with an armful of linens and drops every one of them on the floor. Who are you? Ruthie.
Ma'am.
Who are you? The glass over the dresser has hard white field light behind it. I look for a long time. Then I am running through my own house barefoot in a nightgown at 9 in the morning, laughing, both hands over my mouth to keep it in, 41 years old, and taking a staircase 2 at a time. He loves me.
It broke.
Somewhere in this house a man looked at that face and meant it. He is in the front room with the ledgers. He looks up and does the thing every stranger does. The polite half-frown. The reach for a name that is not there. Can I help you? It is me. His hand goes to the arm of the chair.
He tries to stand.
His arms shake and do not lift him, and something arrives in his face that has never been on it before, which is fear.
Delphine.
I was cursed. A traiteur out on the Vermilion, when I was small, and my mother would never say what over. Hideous sunup to sundown. Myself after dark. The only way out was for a man to love the daylight one and mean it, and telling you is impossible. Do you see? Because if you knew there was a beautiful one waiting, then the loving would not have counted. Crying and laughing at once. All of it coming out in one piece. He has gone white. Not surprised.
White.
You do love me.
It broke.
So you must. Yes. He says it so quietly the room tips. Then why do you look like that? He straightens the ledger on the desk. Straightens it again. I think we should end the marriage. The words go past me like a language I studied once. It was never consummated. That was deliberate. An annulment is clean. There is no impediment. He looks up at the new face, in the full morning light. And now Remy will want you. The court will accept you. You can still have the life you were promised. 6 weeks behind a screen. A garden. A man who took poison on his own skin for me. And the first thing he does, the very first morning, is hand me to the man who stepped back for me in front of 600 people. Because now I am worth handing over. You planned this. Delphine. From the first week. That is why there is no pressure from me. You have been arranging my exit since the day you married me. My voice does not shake, which surprises me. You decided on my behalf in a room I was not in that I had been cheated, like every other person in my entire life. He does not deny it. He looks at his hands. His hands. Both of them. Across the backs, up the forearms where the sleeves are pushed.
Red.
Blistered in 2 places. Shining with whatever Ruthie has been putting on them. How long?
Delphine.
How long? Ruthie says it from the doorway, because he will not. 5 mornings. He as me will him in at first light, and leave him. He sits with you while you sleep with the shutters open and says it out loud to your face, and I come back for him when he cannot take any more. Yesterday, I could not get him to the hall. 5 mornings. He could not know it would work. That is what takes my legs. He sat in the thing that is killing him, 5 days running, and said it to a sleeping woman with a face like bark, with no evidence at all that it would do anything but cost him. You had no way of knowing.
No.
Then why? He looks up and he is not level anymore. Because you were going to spend your whole life in the dark. And I was not going to be one more person who let you. There is a car on the Shell Drive. Yvette comes in without knocking, in her good coat, sent out here to see what state the widow is in. She stops in the middle of my front room and looks around at all of us with her mouth slightly open. I am sorry. I do not think we have met. You have. She waits. Pleasant. Expectant. Ask your father what he put in the glass. Then get off my property. For seconds. I watch it arrive in her face, and it is not as satisfying as I expected. She goes. Then it is the two of us and the light. My hand takes his, and everything he has been carrying comes up through it. The guilt, which is enormous. The certainty that he is a thief who took a woman's future in a sacristy by accident. And under all of it, holding it up, the thing that burned his arms. I do not want a man who would only have me at the right face. Not when I already have one who paid for the wrong one in skin. You did not choose this marriage. I am choosing it now. The handles of his chair go into my hands, and out we go, down the ramp Ruthie's nephew built in April, onto the grass, into full, unfiltered 10 o'clock sun. The one place in this world he cannot be. Then up goes my mother's black parasol, over him. He starts laughing first. Then I do. A man who cannot survive the morning, sitting in the middle of it under a dead woman's umbrella, held up by a wife he tried to give away 4 minutes ago. You will have to hold that for the rest of my life. I know exactly what I will have to do. For women in that room found something interesting about their shoes. All over this parish there are women in good houses waiting on somebody willing to burn for them, and most of them will wait a long time. Nobody has to tell me how rare the thing in my hands is. 2 fingers go under his chin, and I turn his face up toward the light. Let him look. I keep coming back to that first sunrise. Before he had any proof it would work. Whether that was love or just a man who could not stand to be one more reason she stayed hidden. Those are not 2 different things. If you have ever been on either side of it, you already know why I tell these. There are women all over this city who never got their sunrise. Some of them are still sitting in the dark, still waiting on somebody to say it in the light. Come back, and I will tell you how theirs went.